Today is Thursday, February 9th, 7:01 p.m. Community Preservation Act Committee of Rockland. Please be advised that this open meeting may be broadcast live and will be recorded by WRPS for playback at www.wrpsrockland.com/TV and www.youtube.com/WRPSRockland. Entertain a motion to open the meeting.
Motion to open.
Charlie with a second. So open. Tom. Charlie. All those in favor? I'll do roll call. Joe. Raise your hand is fine. Derek.
Yep.
Charlie.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
John. I
Yes.
see the thumbs up. Thank you. And
Yes.
Pete.
Yes.
Great. Unanimous. 2, 9. So this should be a pretty quick session. We only have a couple of agenda items. I see a Dan DeRoss on the call here. Are you a resident or do you want to introduce yourself?
Just a resident.
Oh, well, welcome. Thank you for attending. We don't get a lot of attendees, so.
Oh, I just
welcome.
wanted to see what you guys did. That's all.
No, it's fantastic. Appreciate you joining.
Bye.
All right, I just want to get attendance real quick. Sorry, guys. We got Joe, Charlie, Steve, Derek, John, Tom, and Pete. Great. So item number 1, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Is the Cary Street final application review. I did send that out shortly before this meeting. I went to town hall, grabbed it today. I just ran into some trouble. I had to scan this in shortly before our meeting, sent it to you guys, but I do have it ready to share on screen here. We agreed last week that we would entertain a full application because we were pending an appraisal which came in late last week, just prior to our meeting. We did have executive session with the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday, along with the Parks Commissioners to just discuss this with the Board of Selectmen and give Doug the go-ahead to start speaking with the Realtor and their client about purchasing this land. The final appraisal came in at I think it was $445,000. And that offer has been extended. It was not met with positivity, although Doug did indicate that offer will remain open until we get closer to town meeting, our warrant deadline. So we're going to continue to move forward with this with the hope that we can make something happen with it. But I do want to, procedurally go through and just review the application and entertain you guys' thoughts. So with that said, we'll jump in. You guys see that all right?
Yep.
Good. So application submitted by Rockland Park Department and Park Commissioners. Property owner is James Wheeler. Contact for the Park Commission is Joe Reese, also on our board, has submitted this application. We previously approved the pre-application to move forward. Parcel ID is map 38, parcel 131, Cary Street, Rockland. It has been, it's proposed to be subdivided. That is not on record with the Registry of Deeds yet. We'll get into funding in the funding request here. I think that was a mistake here, but that should be, the funding request is 500,500, and we'll get into what that includes. toward the end here. This is kind of our boilerplate stuff that we'll review, and it kind of gives that. And so Joe has handwritten this, and I've scanned it in here, so we have it digitally. So goals. The goal is to buy the property and develop it at a later date. It helps with open space and recreation, will allow more park space for the youth and taxpayers of Rockland in keeping with the schools and open campus look. Number two, the need. The need is due to the lack of fields in town. Taxpayers and youth programs from seniors all the way down to youth groups will be directly benefited. Town services will be protected from developing the property. Timeline. So the timeline is to purchase the property at town meeting in 2023. The timeline to develop it will be determined at a later date. I think that's fine. We can revisit this as the park commissioners meet, if this is successful, and determine what the best use of this this parkland will be. Success metrics. Success of the project is to help it with the parkland and growing need for more space in fields. And I think a success of this project would be to acquire it. The needs, why they're going forward with this. And really it's, and I believe this to be true, it's very simply stated. Park commissioners know the needs of the town, and they do. They entertain rentals for field use from all sorts of different groups. And it is a bear to manage right now with the amount of fields we have, especially with the school project going up and the Jefferson demolition, Memorial Park demolition not happening yet. But even with those available, it was still a bear, is my understanding. Number 6, funding. If there's going to be any additional funding, and there's no other funding sources available at this time for acquisition of parkland. Maintenance will be funded through the town, through the Parks Department, and then additionally with some CPA funds and grant money that they would seek to find later. The budget, so the cost of the property is, as I stated, we cannot exceed the appraised value of $445,000. We all agree that a soil test would be prudent with this property, and the purchase and sale would be contingent upon that coming back clean because of the state of the property prior to demolition. There was a bit of a mess there, and it was, they worked on cars and such. So want to make sure that it's clean. Also advised, there's a closing cost. It's not listed here, but I'm going to mention it. Budgeted $5,000 for closing costs. And then I advise, as we do with most of our project, added a 10% contingency, which comes out to $45,500. And that brings our total to $500,500. Again, this is just more boilerplate. Joe's signature acknowledging the Secretary of the Interior standards for treatment of historic properties, although that is not applicable for this. Deed restrictions, we know that will have to be sought after that. Copy of a page of the appraisal, and you should all have the full appraisals, like 56 pages, but this is really the pertinent information that the 2 parcels together that we're looking at is $445,000. The proposed subdivision of the property, so you can see it's highlighted here. The property right now, as it stands with the registry of deeds, also includes this portion here. There is a home in this lot that is not included. We are not seeking this portion, only the highlighted yellow, which would abut to existing parkland that the town owns. And here is an aerial view of what that looks like. This is the abutting portion here, but also connects to the Major Reed area, which is parkland as well. With that, I will open it up to comments.
Steve, were you copied on that email from Scott in accounting with the balances?
I'm actually the one that sent that to you.
Oh.
I asked Doug today, I met with Doug today to kind of review this, the state of it, some future asks he has of us that will be at a subsequent meeting because it wasn't posted. And I asked him to help out because I had asked for the town accountant to give us those balances. And so we have them. We could probably review those in item 3 on other business not reasonably anticipated as just kind of an FYI, so we all know where we stand. That's all right.
And that's as of right now, not the anticipated funds from this current year.
Yeah, so part of what we talked about, so Tom asked about funding. We have just, right now, we have just under the amount in our general fund to pay for this. What was recommended is that we fund a portion of this sale with that, our general fund, but then bond against future receipts for the rest. What Doug and I talked about today was potentially 50-50. So we fund 50% up front and then bond the remaining so that we're not draining our accounts.
So I just had one question. So looking at the lot, the lot where the house was torn down,
Mhm.
it's my understanding that that lot has been sold off for a single family home. Is that correct?
My understanding it has not been sold off yet.
Okay. Does the park department, and Joe, maybe you can answer this, have kind of a vision for this property and down the line, or are we just grabbing it now because we're hoping in the future we'll do something with it? You're muted, Joe.
Yes, to answer your question, yes. Purpose of this is to put in the land bank for further use in need from the public. We have ideas of use, but we have to determine what the exact needs are of the town and the youth. You know, there's things that have been thrown out there: pickleball court, dog park, softball field, because the girls have basically down to one field. We're just in dire need of open space and fields with other programs coming in. Rumor has it, field hockey's coming in, flag football, etc. Rugby, I'm hearing stories about rugby. So programs are starting to get overwhelming on field pressure in the town. And with this new turf field, we haven't even got started on that yet, on how we're going to be using that. It's only so many hours in a day. Availability, it's probably only going to be 5 or 6 hours that you could probably use that field with the neighbors and all that stuff, except for on the weekends. So we're in dire need of land, to answer your question, yes, and we're putting in a land bank for further use at this time.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
and you know, I'm in 100% agreement that we do need the fields. Have we identified, or as a park department able to identify a funding source to come up with how those fields will be constructed?
We got two.
Or go ahead.
I couldn't hear all of your questions. Was that directed to me?
Yeah, so my question is has the park department or the town identified a funding source of, you know, where we would get the funds to construct these fields? Or are we just kind of
At this time, no, we have not. We haven't gotten that far into the thinking process. First step was to try to get this land and go from there. The Major Reed property has strict guidelines of use, so we have to follow that. Otherwise, we could possibly lose that land if we don't follow those guidelines.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I agree. We need to grab it because they're not making any more of it.
Yeah,
Well,
I would
on
also,
top of
I'd
it.
recommend that we kind of follow what we did with
You
Hartsup.
know, once
and
the
probably do a
land's
use plan.
gone, we're never gonna go back.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve, what were you saying?
I said I'd probably recommend that we follow what we did with Hartsup and look at all three of these properties if and when we acquire them. And even if we don't, I think it makes sense that we look at the other two properties that we already own and maybe in a future year, propose we do a use plan and work with an outside vendor to look at our possible uses, what our restrictions are, and what might fit.
I think that's a great idea. You're right.
On
Obviously in
top of
concert
just
with the Parks Department.
compounding the issues, fields we have right now is every field we've got is combination fields. We don't have overflow fields like a lot of other towns do where they can give a field a rest for one season or a whole year and redo it. We don't have that luxury. Just stating that, just to compound the issue we've got with lack of fields. We can't keep up with, you know, lacrosse is was getting off the lower oval, and 3 weeks later, youth football was starting on it, and there's no time to start grass, never mind have it established. That's one of the biggest issues we've got with the lack of fields.
Valid points.
This is definitely a need, not a want. This is definitely needed, especially as the population's getting bigger and more construction's going on in town. And the land's getting eat up, and after this parcel, there's only a couple other places, the 2 golf courses, a farm. There's really not much more space available in town. You know, maybe the air base, but people have plans for that. So this is a need, not a want.
I mean, even something as silly as recess in phys ed. Right now, the one elementary school we've got in the location of the oval, along with the middle school and the high school, they've got nowhere to have phys ed or recess other than behind Memorial School, in the stadium, or they walk across the street to Bicentennial Track. By the time they get over there, they walk one lap and they walk back. So by acquiring this land, at least it will alleviate that issue a little bit as well. And right now, I don't know what the kids are going to do for, never mind when the other 2 elementaries go into the new Phelps School, where they're going to go for recess and gym, other than indoors.
Fair enough.
So if we don't have a specific big project for the land, will it be a hard sell at town meeting?
I don't think so.
I feel like we need to build it up and, really
Yeah.
push why we need it. And I just say, it's available and we don't want to lose it. I don't know,
Right.
people get squirrely, but it's $500,000,
That was something that was brought up at that executive session. That it would be prudent to come up with either a presentation or, make sure that we have a good sell. Jokingly, I stated, I was going to throw a picture of Shingle Mill up on the projector and say, do you want this on Carey Street? But I think really what it comes down to is the townspeople are, they're very averse to seeing large developments happen in residential, in certain communities that are, single family homes. And yes, the price is very steep, but the fact that we can go back to the community and say, we tried to protect this land and turn it into something that the entire community can use, I think says a lot.
And that's a good selling point.
But Joe had a great idea, and really, and it hadn't even occurred to me, is that a lot of towns are going toward a kind of an open campus style with their schools, and where we're consolidating our high school, our middle school, and now our elementary schools in one location. The availability of fields in a, confined geographic area is also a great selling point. So, if we, kind of do a visual, we kind of zoom out from here and you envision we have the stadium, we have the high school, the middle school, the elementary school, the turf field when it's in, the what do we call that field out back? Is that the Veterans Field or the Memorial Field? The ball field is behind Memorial Park today.
JV JV Ponyfield.
The JV Pony Field. You have the senior center, you have bicentennial, and now we have this little gem if we're able to convert it. I think that'll go a long way. So, open ideas on how we best present that at town meeting if we're able to move forward with this project. For sure. But I think that's also a great selling point, is that we're offering this up in an area where the youth of Rockland spend most of their days.
Agreed.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to accept this final application for the Cary Street property and move forward with a town warrant submission.
Motion to accept.
Second,
All right, we'll go by roll call here. Joe Reese.
I will abstain.
Okay. Charlie Williams,
Yes.
Tom Reagan,
Yes.
Peter Yule,
Yes.
John Hennessy,
Yes.
Derek Yule,
yes. I'm in Fritzy here, so my phone keeps cutting in and out.
I got you. We can hear you. And myself, Steve O'Donnell, is a yes. So that's unanimous with one abstention.
What was Derek's question?
He said he's cutting in and out, but he heard the question and he was wondering if we could hear his vote in favor, and we can. So that's great. All right, we'll close the door on this with the attention of I'll start working with Doug to draft an article for this so that it's ready to go for town meeting if it is ultimately accepted by the seller. All right. Item number 2, meeting cadence review. I'm going to stop sharing so I can pull up that doodle so we can review what everyone's preferences were that submitted that. And for those of you that did submit that, thank you very much. So give me a moment here so I can stop sharing and pull that up. Charlie, great recommendation. That worked.
Yeah, we've had great success with it, with a couple different things.
Boom. What did I do? Screen. it and just share my screen. We'll do that. Okay. The only thing I don't like about Doodle is the advertisements.
Yeah,
They're all over the
the
place.
the ads are kind of a pain in the butt.
All right.
Somebody's been eating Oreos and on your house.
Yeah, that's the kids. The kids, they love their Oreos.
Sure, it's the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm not. I do enjoy my Oreos too.
Mhm.
So it looks like Thursdays seem to work for most people. I think it's important that we continue to have an aggressive cadence this month to make sure that we meet our town warrant article submissions. We're due to have those in by March 10th, but I think it's important to have them written so that we can go in front of Finance Committee and Capital Planning if necessary to submit them. So what I'm going to suggest, and we may not use all of these, but it appears that Thursday the 16th, Thursday the 23rd appear to work
Of
The six-
February,
of February.
The 16th has kind of changed for me a little bit. I'll talk about that when we get through a little bit further on in the meeting.
Actually, you know what? The 16th has changed for me as well.
Is that the week of February vacation, Steve?
No, it's a week after.
Yeah,
All right, 'cause
vacation's the week after.
I've got an issue with that week, the week after that, if that's the 23rd.
Yeah, I see
might
that
be
you're
out
not
of town.
available the 23rd. But it does look like we have a quorum for that day, for that week. Without you, Pete. I'd love to have you there, but it does appear. Charlie, you said you might have an issue with the 23rd now too?
No, the 23rd, let me just double check. The 23rd, I think I'm fine.
Okay, because yeah, it says you're fine here, but
Yeah, the 23rd I'm okay.
okay. So the one I'm gonna suggest. And I didn't go into March on this, but we may or may not need to. We probably could wrap everything up on the 23rd. But yeah, I have a conflict now on the 16th that didn't exist prior. So I'm gonna recommend we meet again on the 23rd. And then we'll look to maybe another one in March if it's necessary, but if we can get the articles written. Really only have two, is the Carey Street property and our administrative one we do every year. For those of you that weren't here last week, the Butterfly Park request, we got a pre-app, but we never got a final application. So that was declined, and I've communicated that to Dave Taylor. And invited him to submit again for next year if he deems it to be warranted or to work within the budget he's already been granted. March. We do have, like I said, I have a couple of things from Doug that we need to fund. But I don't think there's a huge rush on that, but we do need to get it done and in and approved before town meeting. I'm gonna stop sharing again. Because I think that's it. The only other thing I had was the only thing else that was out there is open, any other items. I didn't think I put this on, but I did, so I'll mention it. Is there any other new business not reasonably anticipated?
I have some old business, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I didn't put much else on this, Charlie, because I wanted it to, because of the cadence, that was the only three
Okay.
items I had. But I will make sure to make sure we have some old business. If you have thoughts, and I'll say this, as we go through this, if anyone has anything that they want to put on an agenda, and let me know. And I know we do typically do like a review of old projects, and I imagine that's probably what you're looking at, providing an update on. And we'll put that on the networks, the next one. So,
Okay.
But yeah, please feel free to send me an email with anything you want to add to the future agenda. And we'll make sure we get that on there. Anything else, folks?
Oh, I just have one other thing. If you guys could check your private messages, I sent some messages in the private chat.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Steve,
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Steve, are we gonna talk about, we're not gonna talk about the guidelines for hiring an assistant?
Not today. I didn't put that on the agenda. That's a good point. If you haven't submitted your reviews to John Hennessy is managing that piece, which that's a job description out. Please submit any recommended changes to the job description to John. I will make sure that's added to the next agenda. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You're a second,
Second.
John. All right, all those in favor, Joe Reese,
Yes.
all right, Charlie Williams,
Yes.
Tom Reagan,
Yes.
John Hennessy,
Yes.
Derek Yule,
Yes.
Peter Yule,
Yes.
and myself. That's a yes. Thank you all. Have a great night.
You too.